All right, welcome back to SouFLoTV again, everybody. It is your host with the most. So let's move forward right away. Her husband has confessed to killing Jessica Edwards during an apparent fight. That is what the headline says, but there is way more details here that you might want to know. So shout out to the CT Post for this one, and you can find the entire article at ctpost.com. This is the affidavit. This is straight off the court papers, okay? Now, South Windsor. After a weekend of arguing, Jessica Edwards' husband killed her while the dispute turned physical, then left the woman's body in their condo for hours while he was caring for their son and dodging phone calls from her family, according to his arrest affidavit that was released on Monday. Now, more than 2 weeks after she was reported missing on May 10th, authorities said that Edwards, who is a 30-year-old mother of a 7-month-old son, was found dead Friday morning in a heavily wooded area off East Hartford. Her husband, Taj Hutchinson, who is 22 years old, was charged with first-degree manslaughter Friday night after he confessed to killing his wife and dumping her body near the East Hartford Reservoir before reporting her missing. His arrest warrant affidavit states authorities said that more charges are possible. Okay, so South Windsor Police Sergeant Mark Cleverdon confirmed on Monday that Edwards' cause of death was by asphyxia, compression of the torso and the neck. No longer needed to wonder how she died. Did he stab her? Did he shoot her? Did he strangle her neck? She died of asphyxia, compression of the torso and neck. With the manner of death was ruled a suicide. Not a suicide, a homicide. In this particular case, he did exactly what that Chauvin police officer did to George Floyd. Go replay the George Floyd video. In the exact manner how he knelt on George Floyd's neck and upper back area and he died is the same exact thing that this man did to his wife. Hutchinson was arraigned Monday in State Superior Court in Manchester, where Judge Peter McShane increased his bond to $1.5 million and transferred the case to Part A in Hartford for June 1st. He was on $1 million bond before going to see the judge. After he went to see the judge increased it to $1.5 million, added $500,000 more to the bond. That's kind of like a surety that he cannot get out. So they gave you a bond for $1 million, and they see that you're struggling because you can't get out. If someone had $1 million, they wouldn't want to spend a night in a jail cell, so they would immediately up the money and get out. They see he's struggling with the money, so they made it even harder for him to even attempt, which is telling me that they are firm on this case and they're going to be dealing with him incarcerated at this point until sentencing or until court date and sentencing. Public defender Russ Williams arguing for lower bail, you scum. But that's his job. That's what he's supposed to do. He said that Hutchinson is a lifelong Connecticut resident with no criminal record, and he has a full-time job, Your Honor. Hutchinson worked full-time at a Aldi's warehouse in South Windsor. So, there are no mentions here of him being in the U.S. military, being a U.S. military veteran, or connected to the U.S. Army in any way. If you watched the video before this, his page on Facebook says that he is active duty U.S. military. Like I said in that video, looking at his demeanor as far as his descriptive characteristics, how his hair is and his beard is, that kind of told me, and I am a U.S. Army infantry combat veteran, that appearance told me that either he served a long time ago or that he was never in, but he was putting false information on his page. He's only 22 years old, so for him to have grown a full head of dreads or beard, or not a beard, but braids, hair long enough to braid, back in the fashion he had them braided in would have taken some time. So anyhow, there's no mention of him being associated or connected with the U.S. military. Assistant State Attorney Anthony said that Hutchinson's charges were serious and the state has a strong case acknowledging the defendant's conduct and confession, and he argued for a $1.5 million bail. Karen Prescott, who is a local activist and an advocate, spoke to the courts on behalf of this young lady's family, asking the judge, "Please deny him bail, Judge. He does not deserve to be outside awaiting a trial. Lock him up and keep him there until you try and convict and sentence him." Prescott, who connected with the Edwards family shortly after her disappearance, detailed in front of the judge the exhaustive searches that they did for days. Any clues as to where this mother might have gone is what they were looking for. Day and night they searched. They searched the parks. They searched the residential areas. They searched the trails, turning over leaves and dirts and digging for clues, she said. "We did all this hoping, just hoping that we could bring her back to her baby boy," is what Prescott told the judge. Head of the hearing, more than a dozen family members, friends, and supporters clutched signs asking the judge to deny this man's bail because he does not deserve it. As the family gathered in tears outside the courthouse, Prescott said that they knew it was not realistic to ask for a bond to be denied, but those gathered were actually hoping to send a message. And this message that they're hoping to send is that we in Connecticut have a zero tolerance for this type of domestic issue. They are making sure that whoever is being abused, this is a domestic violence issue. Sharmise taking this case will show that Connecticut has zero tolerance for domestic violence, and that when family or when a victim comes forward and finally is able to leave the abuser and press charges, we want them to know that we are here to back them up and we will stand behind them and we will be out here in the public for them. Do not be afraid. If you're in Connecticut, come out and speak. There are advocates here that will stand on your behalf. All right. Investigators detail the confession. So, in the arrest warrant affidavit, police said that Hutchinson confessed to the killing when they questioned him on Friday outside of his parents' home in Manchester, the home after they discovered, which is where he went after they discovered that her body was found, and then they went looking for him. They found him at his parents' home. I bet he was at his parents' home praying, and he was probably even confessing to his parents because he knew that he had not hid her body properly and she would have been easy to find. Now listen to this. He dropped trails everywhere. Taj provided them with a confession to what had happened, the affidavit said. He told the police that he and his girlfriend, or his wife rather, were arguing all day on May 8th. And then him eventually blocking her from calling his phone or from contacting him through Facebook. This is what the affidavit states. That's the 8th. He told police the arguing continued on May 9th until it escalated to a physical confrontation. This is one of those toxic ass relationships. You're in the same house, but you're in different rooms and you're no longer arguing face to face, but you're now texting each other. F you, yeah, F you too, right? So he blocked her on Facebook, blocked her on his phone, but they're in the same house. This is on the 8th. Wakes up on the 9th and the arguing continues. Not only does it continue, it escalated into a physical confrontation, according to the affidavit. Hutchinson claims to police that his wife was attempting to hit him and threw multiple household items at him before striking him in the head with a laptop computer. Hutchinson told investigators that at that point on May 9th, he pushed his wife really hard and she hit her head on something and started bleeding from her ear. This is what the affidavit said. When Edwards left that night to pick up their son from her mother's house in East Hartford, Hutchinson told police that he fell asleep. He simply fell asleep. And when Edwards got home, she woke him up and they briefly argued some more before he went back to bed, this time in separate rooms. On May 10th, they woke up in the morning and continued arguing again, the affidavit said. He stated that he was trying to calm her down, but he felt that she had reached a breaking point. He claimed to the officers that she hit him in the head with the laptop, and then she grabbed a knife from the kitchen counter and she came at him with the knife. Ha ha! What a crock of shit. He stated that they wrestled over the knife and he eventually pinned her to the ground on the living room floor, him being on top of her and her on her back. He stated that he continued in the physical confrontation and he was able to flip her over onto her stomach, and then he was kneeling on her back neck area, the back of her neck area and her upper back, with all of his weight. Like I said, if you go check out the George Floyd video, that is exactly what Chauvin did to George Floyd. Flipped him, kneeled on that particular area, and suffocated him. I don't know if this dude thought about that while he was doing it, but after seeing how public that case had gone in that video, surely he had seen it, and surely anybody with sense would know not to do that to someone, especially someone you love, like your wife. You're going to kill her. This is how George Floyd died, right? Okay, so the affidavit said that Hutchinson told the police that his wife eventually stopped moving and he didn't know what happened. So he just turned stupid. So he got up and he went to check on the couple's son, which is about 7 months old, by the way. He came back a short time later and she didn't move at all. She was now unresponsive. At that point, he realized that she was not alive. He told the police that he left her body on the floor on a blanket, which investigators later seized from Hutchinson's Jeep and found apparent blood-like evidence on it. He left her on the floor for the day and tended to his son throughout the day and into the evening, with her body laying there dead on the floor. Now, while her family was calling him and looking for her and trying to locate her, he was busy dodging their phone calls. He told police that later on that night, he backed his Jeep up to the door, loaded her body into the rear of the vehicle, and left when the family came over. Visibly unemotional. Now, throughout their interview with Hutchinson, investigators described him as a visibly unemotional person. This is how investigators described him, adding that he never asked for any updates on the case when they contacted him. Now, if your wife is missing and the police is in touch with you, right, and you just reported her missing, aren't you going to ask the police, have you came up with anything yet? Have you guys found anything yet? What's going on? They said that he never asked about any kind of update, what's going on, anything. Edward's sister and her fiance came to the home to check on her the same night on May 10th after not hearing from her all day, because she was one of those people who stayed in touch with her family on a daily basis. Every day. Her family told investigators it was extremely unusual for them to go even a day without hearing from her, so they had to go check on their sister. When Edward's sister arrived, he, the husband, was outside with his Jeep backed up to his residence unit, and he quickly closed the rear hatch. This is what the affidavit said. She looked in the back and she saw a blanket that seemed to be covering something up, is what the affidavit also said. The sister later told investigators that she thought the sheet was possibly covering up her sister's body. The sister told the police that she demanded for him to open the back of the Jeep now. Open it! Open it! But he blocked her, and he instead jumped in and drove away out of the parking lot as she chased him, holding on to the door handle of the vehicle. This is what the affidavit said. Now, as soon as he drove off and she let go of that vehicle handle, she immediately called 911. After about an hour later, he shows up barefooted at East Hartford Police Department in report to Edwards missing. He told the police his wife was missing. Now, despite the couple living in South Windsor, he shows up in East Hartford. He said that he thought that he would report her missing there because he found out that she was recently at somebody's house over there. Hutchinson later explained to police during his confession that he wasn't wearing any shoes because they got muddy from dumping her body in the wooded area right before he was going to the police station, so he didn't want to make it look so obvious, so he took his shoes off. Listen, this is a typical 22-year-old. You think you're the smartest thing in the world, right? And you're trying to say that you can cover all your tracks. But just the very fact that you took the time to conceal the body, to wait all day, to dodge phone calls, you knew what you had done. This wasn't an accident. Oh my God, she's dead. Oh, I'm panicking. You waited all day. You argued. You avoided her family. You drove off. You took your shoes off on your way to the police station because you didn't want them to look down at your feet, just like they do in the movies, and say, is that blood or mud on your sneakers? So this is calculated, which should contribute to them upgrading his charge from manslaughter to murder, which is exactly what the state prosecutors are pushing for. When people searched the home, when police searched the home on May 10th, the day Edwards was reported missing, they did not find evidence of a struggle or of a crime scene that had been cleaned up. Police discovered that the couple's bedroom door had been forced open. So, when police searched the home, they did not find evidence of a struggle. Police discovered the couple's bedroom door had been forced open, which one of the investigators said was a sign of a possible earlier domestic violence evidence where one person is locked in a room to protect themselves from another person. It was unclear if police believe that the incident happened that weekend or at another time. Wow. So there were evidence there, obviously. He kicked off the door before, braced the door, break the door down, went into the room, probably was beating her, and she was running in, locking herself in a room, trying to be safe. I don't know why, but women take beatings and stay in relationships and hope for the best for their abuser. I know why. I understand the dynamics to it, but how many times can people tell you, like, if you're being beaten and abused, cry out loud for help. Someone is going to help you. Stop standing there believing that you are all on your own and you have to go through this alone. It's not normal, and someone is always there to help. You just have to make it known loud enough. So, family reports finding divorce papers. Investigators did not point to a motive for the killing, but acknowledged in the affidavit that Edward's sister found divorce documents in the home. Edwards completed the documents but did not file them according to the affidavit. Wow. So that, now remember the first video we did? If you look at the screen, it says that she was going to leave him. He was always this kind of controlling, abusive person. Where you going? Who you going with? Who are you talking to? Why are you talking to him? Why'd you look over there and smile at him? That kind of person, and she would get beaten all the time. This is what we heard, right? And I put it on the screen on the last video, but we had not confirmed it. Now, She was going to leave him, was a part of that, and he could not take it. And this is what it is saying now. The update says her sister found divorce papers in the house, and she had actually filled out the divorce papers. This just reminds me of one of those relationships where the female really wants to leave to the point of getting divorce papers, but you're hiding them from the person who's abusing you. You're making your mind up. You're trying to talk yourself into it. I'm going to leave. I'm going to divorce. I'm going to move on. I'm going to do everything, but you stay and you stay and you stay until you're killed. The divorce papers were filled out, but she never got to file them. On May 13th, Hutchinson agreed to allow investigators to search his home and their 3 vehicles. Now, during a search of the Jeep, the affidavit said that the police saw a few small red stains that are consistent with possible blood-like substance on a blanket in the back of the vehicle. The affidavit said that blood was found on the handle of the cargo area privacy cover in the Jeep, and in the console, investigators found Edwards' credit card and her driver's license in his vehicle. So he still took her credit card and her driver's license. In the home, the affidavit said investigators seized a pillow that was found in the bed with blood stains on it. On May 20th, investigators obtained cell phone data request from T-Mobile for the records of Hutchinson and Edwards, both of them phones. The affidavit said that data showed Hutchinson's cell phone connected with a tower near Labor Park in East Hartford on May 10th between 10:57 and 11:07 p.m. This was after Edwards' sister confronted him at the couple's South Windsor condo and before he reported his wife missing in East Hartford police. Wow. So when he drove away from her sister, he actually really went straight to go dump her body somewhere. And then after dumping the body, he went straight to go report her missing. The data showed Hutchinson returned a few hours later from around 2:30 to 3 a.m. May 11th, according to the affidavit. So he actually went back over there to go look. Now, once investigators had the cell phone data, they were able to pinpoint a general area in East Hartford where they believe that Hutchinson dumped her body, the affidavit said, and by 7 p.m., May 20th, the same day police obtained the data from the cell phone company, they searched that same area, heavily wooded area, with a drone. The search was called off when it got too dark to see. South Windsor investigators returned the next morning with the state police, and that is where they found Edwards' body, the affidavit said. The community continues to rally around the Edwards family and friends, raising funds for her funeral and to support her child that is now left behind with both parents gone. The GoFundMe campaign was created by Tanisha Duncan this weekend to help the family raise some money for Edwards' unexpected funeral, and any additional funds, Duncan said, will go towards the care of that young child that is left behind. Hundreds of donors have raised $16,647 so far. They are trying to get to $30,000. Duncan said that all donations collected will go directly to the Edwards family. She was a beautiful soul who was robbed of her life. There you have the complete story, complete confession, court affidavit, update, and all. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about this one. It's SouFLoTV, and I'll catch you on the next video. I'm out. Peace.